Alright, beside the fact that I have nothing else to show you in this channel because this pandemic is keeping me off the street. Welcome to another episode of Photo Analysis. Speaking of the pandemic and how it's basically changing almost every lives in this world, it's definitely also changing the landscape for street photographers. While a huge chunk of photographers live by Robert Capas, if your pictures aren't good enough, you're not close enough. Sadly, this is not the case now. A lot are probably grabbing their teles and zooms now to do street photography safely from a distance, in fear of catching the virus. So I thought I'd make this episode about identifying what a worthy image to photograph, while still maintaining a good amount of distance to people, and hopefully, some of you guys will learn a thing or two. Alright, disclaimer, while I did went out a couple of times before to photograph, I realized there are just too much risk involved, and I'm also putting my family at risk. I do not encourage anyone to go out to photograph and only go out when it's necessary. I think staying home is the responsible and safest thing to do right now. So let's head over to my Instagram, and I'm just gonna pick a couple of photographs and do a description of what got my interest and why I took it. Maybe a little background story and a little analysis too. Alright, so this first image was taken from a mall service stairs. I initially thought that the lines created by these railings and the perpendicular lines created by the steps are the most eye-catching element of this image. Somehow it reminds me of those abstract paintings we do during our childhood, using lines that eventually forms multiple polygonal shapes. The arrow also adds that extra punch to the picture as well. I follow the rule of thirds here, placing the person at the upper left corner of the frame. A simple composition, but it contributes to the emotion this picture wants to show. This image is taken probably about 4 to 5 meters away from the subject. Again, the person just adds that human element to the photograph. I think the car as the foreground and the cafe as the background makes up the photograph in general. Although the guy with the pink shirt, the way his arms are positioned, his head almost vanished due to the shadow casted by the green sun shield captures the eye of the viewer immediately. The foreground and the background merges from the back of the image and opens up as it gets closer to me, revealing the person but not quite, adding a little bit of mystery too. I think the sky reflected from the windshield is also a nice element of the photograph. This is an image I took from Baler right after my real estate photo sesh. I saw this man chilling in this pool while he watches the beach right in front of him. I thought it was pretty funny. You know, there's a big body of water right in front of you, but you choose to swim in a pool. I mean, I'm not judging him from his choices, but this is another photo I took during another photo sesh with a client. I was having my break actually, and I looked out of the window and was just lucky to see this guy's head popping out of the curtain. I thought this is an unusual image and I don't really want to know what's behind that curtain, so I raised my camera and took a couple of shots before the moment is gone. Or see more than what I asked for. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that when the unusual happens, always be prepared with a camera. So this is my favorite photo of the set. This is my wife and my son while he was about 2 months old. I either finish up my work or just browse in the internet for new information, so in the morning I tell my wife and I would sound intelligent. I took a look at them one time and noticed the blue table lamp and the yellow light from the street lamp you can see from the window. I thought that these colors complement each other and makes for a cinematic feel. Love how peaceful my son is as he sleeps on his mom's belly. The calendar also adds a sense of time when the image was taken. I just had to capture this very memorable image of my family. This is a silhouette of a man about to go down the stairs. I was, on the other hand, was about to do the opposite. I have my Contax G1 around my neck that time, it was set to aperture priority when I shot this, so I was completely not aware of what the image will look like, but I see something that led me to photographing it. I love how it turned out. The silhouette makes this such a mysterious image. Also, the railing that leads your eyes to the sky is a good touch. In fact, I realized why I took this photo after I got the results. Maybe my brain sees this picture already before I could actually realize it. All these lines created by the building ceiling, railings, and stairs creates this frame for the man standing on top. The little detail from the ceiling and the railing and the clouds behind are great textures that completes the image. So this is just your typical kid playing and swimming in some local lake. Kids are very unpredictable, that's why you have to stick around a little longer because it's almost sure that they'll do something worth photographing. Like this kid here, using a plastic straw to breathe underwater. The water is in pretty bad shape, but this place is like a theme park for the kids. Love how very little detail of the boy's feature is visible, and the rest is distorted due to the ripples and murky water. Colors are also very minimal and subtle. The straw is actually the only element with the most striking color, as if it's pinning your eyes in the middle of the photograph. Alright, this is a toddler in the middle of the road, but don't worry, no cars pass by this road and only people walks over this pavement. It caught my attention because obviously there is no adults accompanying this baby, as if she was left there alone. But again, don't worry, the parents are just a couple of meters away and actually watching their baby from where they are. The line crossing diagonally and where the toddler is sitting is a good guide to the viewer's eye. The different tone of the asphalt also gives a nice texture overall. And something I noticed actually while I was revisiting this image is the pine trees printed on the toddler's shirt. It's a great juxtaposition to a rather empty paved surrounding. Here's an image that made me scratch my head. The guy sitting in the middle is wearing coat and tie, very formal, opposite to everything surrounding him. Back alley, definitely none of his setting. He looks like he was about to go through a job interview. And it makes me wonder what kind of job they're offering. Here's a nice and sweet image of a grandfather and his grandson fishing. It's a lovely image and anyone would probably snap a photo of these two. Technically, I think black and white is the best way to present this picture because it allows the viewers to see more of the emotion rather than the color of the surroundings. This is an image with a simple composition. Caught this on my way to my former work in Singapore. What caught my attention is that one leg sticking out of the column and those two boots nearby. Composition is based on diagonal lines running across the frame intersecting where the subject lies. The image is very minimalistic, meaning there is not a lot of elements to distract the eyes of the viewers. This is a photograph of my shadow. This is also on my way back to my office. The light was behind me and casting this massive shadow, leaving only a streak of light almost cutting diagonally across the frame. I thought that my shadow was nice, but what was even nicer was the man reading a newspaper that got distracted by my shadow and started looking at it, as if he was trying to talk to it. Not a lot of elements in this photograph, just an umbrella and what looks like an e-bike, plus the wall and the road that makes the image seem two-dimensional and not allowing your eyes to wander further. This is a picture of a sulfur miner from Indonesia. Besides the fact that the thick smoke can literally damage my lungs if I inhale too much, I decided that taking a photo zoomed out will best capture the scale of what the miners are dealing with. They are powerless against Mother Nature, yet they brave through just to make a living. Here's another photograph of a miner carrying his mined sulfur. You can see just how high he had to climb, and for a tourist like me, it's not a walk in the park kind of climbing. I took this photograph to show how hard their work is by showing the top of the crater in relation to how much this miner is carrying. I did a full episode of these Indonesian miners. You can click the link in the description below. Alright, so things may be a little different now, at least until the virus is totally gone. But till then, let's all be safe in our houses. Hope this episode taught you something about doing street photography from a distance. If you meant to photograph outside, please at least consider what I have shared in this episode. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. Let's reach 100 subs, y'all. Peace.